Today's video, I want to talk about fentanyl. We do have a crisis in the United States. It's taken a back burner to everything else that's going on in this country. And I want to shed some light on it. Let's get into it. Fentanyl. Fentanyl is a major crisis in the United States, and the doors are wide open, and China is shipping it in by the tons. You know, I'd rather talk about things other than fentanyl, like entrepreneurship and real estate and how to make some money. But I think this is such an important issue. I would like to lean into it and take a swing at it. I think it's important. So could fentanyl deaths surpass COVID deaths? Maybe. Who knows in these crazy times? What is going on with the fentanyl crisis is very alarming in the United States. You know, what is fentanyl? Let's take a look. So what is fentanyl? It's a powerful synthetic opioid that is similar to morphine, but it's 50 to 100 times more potent. It is a prescription drug that is also made and used illegally. So what are some of the most common side effects? Some of the most common side effects of fentanyl are slow breathing, slow heart rate, muscle stiffness, dizziness, vision problems, nausea, vomiting, itching, sweating, high blood pressure, confusion, anxiety, pounding in your neck and ears. So, not good. So, if you live near any major U.S. city, you don't have to go to hit the Netflix button to see the horse show around you. Instead, just find out where the fentanyl-laced heroin is being sold and go hang out with the drug addicts for a few hours. If you survive the encounter, it will be an experience that you will never forget. So in city after city, hopelessly addicted men and women wander the streets of our core urban areas like zombies. You know, unfortunately, many of them won't last long because it is exceptionally easy to die from a fentanyl overdose. As you know, when we talk about drug overdose deaths in the U.S., they were up over 30% last year, and fentanyl was the main reason. And we talk about one of the major cities. Philadelphia played such a critical role in the American Revolution, as we all know, and was once such a beautiful city. Now it's a hellhole. You know, if COVID wasn't enough, the fentanyl issue in our cities is the nail in the coffin. You know, we got these issues in Afghanistan, and we're being told to look over here. What about our cities collapsing and people dying daily from overdose? How can city officials and Congress just stand aside and do nothing as this goes on day after day and it's being shipped in from another country? It's unbelievable. You know, down the streets in Philadelphia, you can buy a bag of fentanyl-laced heroin for as little as $5. In the Kensington section of Philadelphia, where anyone can buy lethal dose of fentanyl-laced heroin for $5 bag, has been known locally as ground zero of the American opioid epidemic. Didn't know that. And Philadelphia Magazine reported that information. It's so sad. And this is being done by design, maybe. Why is this happening? Is it not uncommon for locals who pass by the area to notice men laying motionless on the sidewalk as you're walking down the street? Syringes and needles are also frequently seen out and used in plain sight. Authorities know that this is going on right out in the open, and they do nothing to stop it. Needless to say, what is happening in Philadelphia is just a very small fraction of the overall crisis that we're facing in the country overall, in every major city and in the suburbs. People sitting in their mansions doing fentanyl. From coast to coast, thousands upon thousands of addicts are dying. In fact, the number of drug overdose deaths in the United States was up, as I said, over 31% last year. So, U.S. drug overdose rise 30% to records during the pandemic. The provisional drug overdose death statistics for 2020 confirm the addiction field's worst fears. More people die of overdose in the United States last year than in any other one-year period in our history. More than 93,000 people died. The increase from the previous year was also more than we've ever seen, up 30%. So these, the data is telling us that something is wrong. In fact, they are basically shouting for change. Fentanyl and engineered substances that mimic fentanyl are being shipped into this country in vast quantities. These substances can be 100 times stronger than meth or heroin. It's being laced in cocaine, and they are super addictive, very addictive. But they are also super deadly. It has been reported that an amount of fentanyl equivalent to 2 grams of salt can kill you. So it is so easy to make a mistake when dealing with fentanyl, but addicts just keep coming back for more. Take this, a comedian, sadly a 39-year-old comedian, learned the hard way when she was almost died the other night, a few nights ago, after taking some fentanyl-laced cocaine. So if you're a cocaine user, you might want to think twice. You don't know what it's cut with. Maybe a good time to quit and take a break and get clean. So a comedian who is said to have taken fentanyl-laced cocaine that killed 3 people in a LA house party up in the hills, has told a friend that she's recovering from the incident. Kate, 39, texts friend Brian, red band Sunday, to say, "I'm alive, not great, but I'm okay," with red band sharing a screenshot of the message on his Instagram Sunday. So of course, whatever, there are people that are extremely addicted to illegal street drugs, there is also going to be lots of crime and problems. So far this past weekend, dozens of people have been shot in the city of Chicago, as we all know what's going on there. And criminals have become so brazen that they are now literally trying to haul away entire ATM machines. This is my hometown, so I know what's going on. Someone has been trying to steal entire ATMs from businesses in Chicago, and has succeeded at least once, Chicago police said. The burglaries tried to use blowtorch and pry tools to open an ATM outside a business. In 2 other robberies, they smashed a window or door and tried to steal the ATM in its entirety. In one instance, they did walk away with the ATM. So it's the Walking Dead. So I don't know why anyone would still want to live in the city of Chicago at this point. It's out of control. It's very dangerous. Of course, the exact same thing could be said for dozens of other major U.S. cities. As the economic suffering in this nation intensifies, it is inevitable that even more people will turn to drugs to try to deal with the pain in this pandemic. More people getting divorced, doing drugs, drinking. It's going to take a lot of willpower. I'm seeing so much hopelessness and despair out there right now, and turning to something that will instantly make you feel good can seem like a really easy answer, only for the short term, people, but in the end it can send you to the grave. So right now, Democrats in Washington, they have a lot of power, are debating whether they should extend the enhanced unemployment benefits that are expiring right now, this week. President Joe Biden, congressional Democrats are facing pressure to extend federal pandemic-related unemployment benefits set to expire the weekend for millions of American workers. And there's 10 million jobs out there right now, according to the data. So as the Delta variant continues to surge and job growth slows in certain sectors, we're being told, 3 federal jobless aid programs that put in place by former President Donald Trump's administration last March will lapse Monday, with an estimated 7.5 million unemployed workers set to lose all of their benefits, and an additional 3 million will no longer receive a $300 weekly boost to the unemployment benefits provided by their states. In some states, as we know, 12 states cut it out early. So according to estimates from the Century Foundation, in order to extend those benefits, we would have to borrow more money, and we can't afford to do that. But if we don't extend those benefits, even more Americans will fall into poverty, and that will lead to more hopelessness and despair. So right now, we live at a time when more Americans than ever are dependent on the government. I don't think that's a good thing, and that is very alarming, because everyone uses the word socialism, it does always end up collapsing if you have that type of government system. If you look around the world, as Margaret Thatcher once said, socialist governments always run out of other people's money eventually. Unfortunately, the United States has been marching down a socialist path for a long time, and if we stay on that course, it won't lead anywhere good. Take a look at Venezuela. There are consequences for the decisions that we make, and the drug addicts that endlessly wander our city streets are just one example of what's going on out there. So many of those addicts could have, maybe been doctors, lawyers, real estate professionals, or business executives, but instead they have willingly chosen to destroy themselves. And maybe it doesn't help that all these drugs are coming in. Everywhere you go lately, it's the slow, the Walking Dead. I don't like the direction we are headed in, and I'm on the streets every day, and I don't like what I'm seeing. Of course, our society as a whole is willingly destroying itself, in my opinion, and little time remains to do anything about it. We have little time. So I'm not putting down a lot of people. It doesn't help that these drugs are coming in to give people access to this stuff. Why is tons of fentanyl being shipped in from China? And we have ports and we know what's going on. There's a lot of money to be made in the business of the drug business. I'd love to do a talk on that. I don't want to be in this wheelhouse. This is usually outside my wheelhouse. I do read a lot about politics and all these things, and it's interesting. And this issue is very interesting, but it's very concerning because this drug issue, and then coupled with the unemployment, and of course there's people taking advantage of the unemployment, but other people need help, of course, and there's 10 million jobs out there, but now people don't want to go back to work and get those jobs. And a lot of people that were on unemployment, what are they doing all day? They're drinking possibly and doing drugs. So now, because of the pandemic, more people are addicted to drugs. And this fentanyl is a very, very dangerous drug, and it is being shipped in from China. Why aren't our Congress people talking about this more at the very least? And the people that are running Congress right now on the Democrat side, I think it's important. And all sides come together because this is a major issue. And I'm talking to people down it because I'm involved in the homeless issue, which is I'm very passionate about. So I'm learning more about this. And as I said in other talks, I'm in the infancy stage of this. I have funding. I'm getting some pushback from some people. They're not calling me back. It's like they don't want to be helped. Or I can't give money away, but I want provisions for the money. They just want to take it. And we have people with these big salaries in the homeless sector, but they don't want to solve the problem. So I'm getting some pushback right now. But I got deep pockets, people. I can help. But I want to make sure the money goes to where it has to go. But since I've been pursuing this passion of mine, I'm seeing this other side in downtown LA, for example, in Venice Beach. And I'm talking to people about this, and that's why I'm doing this talk on this fentanyl, because that's what they're telling me. We're seeing a lot of fentanyl on the streets, Tim. So it's very concerning. More to come. I'm going to do more talks about it because, this affects everyone. If our cities go to hell because of drugs, it's going to affect everyone, and we don't want that for business, and it's going to hurt everyone in every sector throughout this country, and we're going to feel a lot of pain. So we need to help people and figure out what the hell is going on with this, because it's very concerning. And for you other people out there that are doing other things like, let's say, cocaine, be very careful because it could be laced with fentanyl, and it's 50 to 100 times more powerful than morphine. This is serious stuff. So I just want to delve into that. It's very concerning. Take care. Be safe. Be kind.